Display is based on the famous Dandi March, also known as the Salt Satyagraha. The march was led by Mahatma Gandhi, occurred between March and April 1930. The march was moved as an opposition and resentment to the British exploitative salt tax. The march was the first series of civil disobedience movement Gandhi himself envisaged. It was carried along the line of justice, which Gandhi firmly reiterated. All events that developed as an immediate consequences to this march was primarily based on the principle of non-violence. The march garnered Gandhi with huge support from the people of India and also from people across the country. India provided its people with many gifts. One such gift was salt. It was a gift enjoyed by Indians with much ease and bliss. No such tax was imposed that could create a deplorable and burdensome condition for the people. However, all this changed with the British policy of salt monopoly. It came in the shape of salt tax.
To you of the British decision. Why you are supposed to pay salt tax?
Salt tax?
Yes, salt tax, and you must pay it.
This policy of the British over salt became more severe with due course. All this with aim of raising revenue. The intensity of the salt tax escalated beyond what can be termed as normal. The British salt tax now became a widely criticized legality in India. As a result of these laws, the Indian populace was restricted from manufacturing and retailing salt independently. Salt became too expensive for the people, causing much problem for a simple life. On 5th February 1930, press report came that Gandhi would undertake civil disobedience movement in connection with the salt issue. Mahatma Gandhi on 2nd March 1930 sends a letter to Lord Irwin, the Viceroy of India, with his 11 points. The Viceroy replied Gandhi's letter. Ironically, his reply was negative. Gandhi, now dismayed, begins to devise a strategy for starting the movement. It was decided Gandhi, along with a band of 78 members of Sabarmati Ashram, men belonging to almost every region and religion of India, would march from Ahmedabad through the village of Gujarat to Dandi, 240 miles away on the seacoast, and break the law by manufacturing salt illegally and openly. Gandhi begins his march with his followers on 12 March 1930. Along the way, a journalist asked,
Babu, is it all over? If there is, you know.
They arrest me, 1,000 or 10,000. It would not matter. It is the fight of every Indian.
What if they don't react at all?
The function of the civil resistance is to provoke response. They are not in control and we are. That is the strength of civil resistance.
Gandhi, with his aim clear, continues to march towards Dandi. As he marched towards Dandi, larger and larger crowds joined Gandhiji. Gandhi, though all, did not show any sign of weakness. Perhaps it was his aim that was guiding him. On the other hand, Sarojini Naidu, who heard about Gandhi, stood along the path and waited for the arrival of Gandhi. Gandhi, when he arrived where Naidu, along with her followers, stood, they greet him, and Naidu, along with her followers, joined Gandhiji in this march. The journey was long. However, Gandhiji did not give up. Finally, on 5th April 1930, they reached the seashore. Gandhi took a lump of raw salt. Gandhi took a lump of raw salt and said,
And its salt, as he needs air and water. This salt came from the Indian Ocean, that every Indian has the right to claim it. With this, I am shaking the foundation of the British Empire, and I want my followers to do the same. This is the battle of right against might.
While all this was happening, Lord Irving, the Viceroy, was informed of all occurrences.
My Lord, Your Excellency, the Indians are making salt everywhere. Possibly, most of them, the Indian Congress leader, selling in the streets of Delhi.
Where is everyone? Except Gandhi.
Yes, sir.
With the order of the Viceroy, the British soldier entered into the midst and began arresting.
Stop it, Matthew. No violence.
Many was arrested, but most importantly, the Congress leader were imprisoned. The continuity of reluctance from the British part over the constant demand of justice on the salt issue made Gandhi, with much resentment and stern dissent, write a letter to Lord Irving on May 4, 1930, where he explained his intention to raid the Darasana salt works. Irving instead used this as a ground for Gandhi's arrest. On the night of May 4, 1930, Gandhi was arrested. The arrest of Gandhi did not stop the leaders of the civil disobedience movement from carrying its program. As a reaction to the arrest, a crowd led by Sarojini Naidu and Maulana Azad gathered at the entrance of the Darasana salt work, stood at the gate where the already informed British soldiers. Naidu turns to the crowd and tells them,
We shall carry forward whatever Gandhi had started. We will not stop salt work under any circumstances. Long live Mahatma Gandhi!
With that, the crowd moved towards the gate where the British soldiers were already in place. Move forward. Azad comes forward and tells the crowd,
Last night at midnight, they took Gandhiji from us. They expect us to lose heart or to fight back. We will do neither. Jai Hind!
crowd slowly begins to move towards the British soldiers. As the crowd moves towards, the British soldiers begin to whip the Indians. In the midst of all this, Naidu, to uphold the principle of non-violence, tells the forwarding crowd,
You must not use any violence under any circumstances. You will be beaten, but you must not resist. Not even raise a hand to defend from the blows.
and with that, the crowd continues to move towards the British soldiers. The raid was a disastrous one. The scene saw many pain, many injured, and many badly wounded. The British attempt to remove Gandhi from the scene to put an end to the civil disobedience movement did not work as envisaged. By the end of 1930, the British had realized that without conciliating the Congress, no settlement was possible. On 26 January 1931, the Viceroy announced the unconditional release of Gandhi and other members of Congress so that they could join in the second roundtable conference as directed by the British Prime Minister. Gandhi was released from the prison accordingly. Gandhi would then go on to meet Lord Irwin.
I am aware my deeds might have caused you lots of troubles and irritation, but I hope this will not stand in between us for what we are about to talk.
Mr. Gandhi, I am directed to invite you to the second roundtable conference which is to be held in London.
Okay, now I know. But I want all the arrested innocents to be free.
Well, first put an end to the civil disobedience movement and come and join the second roundtable conference, and then I will comply.
I accept your excellency.
After a great deal of correspondence between Gandhi and the Viceroy, with mediation from liberal leaders like Sapru and Jayakar, a pact was concluded on 5th March 1931, known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact. This marked the suspension of the civil disobedience movement in India and all sorts of boycotting. More importantly, under this pact, Gandhi went to London to attend the second roundtable conference, where on the other hand, the British relaxed the legal control on the Indians. The Dandi March was one among many applaudable initiatives carried by Mahatma Gandhi throughout his lifetime as a nationalist freedom fighter. Not only did the march reiterate Gandhi's love in non-violence as a principle, but his belief in the practicality of it. Perhaps it was all these events that made Gandhi's followers and disciples like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru believe in such principle, which even today is prevalent, not only as a mere principle, but as a cultural hallmark of India. We hope through this people will talk and discover for themselves the relevance of Gandhi in their lives. Thank you.